right, good morning, guys. Welcome back. It's like I just saw you, even though I don't see anything but my screen. How we doing? How we doing? The Nvidia bear flag? Don't remind me. Don't remind me, man. Yeah. Yesterday is history. Yesterday's history. Our focus is on the future. Sending a special thanks to you this morning. I stayed on course for your pullback and had SPX puts. Nice job, bro. Beautiful. Way to stick with it, man. Or not, man. Bro, you're a lady. Sorry about that. Way to stay with it. Way to stay with it. White powder on my nose? No white powder for me, man. None of that. Good morning. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed that little. Honestly, doing a live stream at night is a whole lot easier for me than doing a whole video. But, we'll see. I like doing the live streams. It's easy. I don't really. All I prepare for this is the levels, and it's a nice way to get some content out. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that last night. Was I green yesterday? I think I lost like $150. I basically just laid low. Now, you guys know the story. If I would have held those positions from Tuesday, I think they'd all be in the green, heavily in the green. So it is what it is, right? It is what it is. I'm muffled. I don't know what to tell you. Tanya, haven't changed anything here. Yeah, SMCI, the Nvidia puts, the Coinbase looked good. So we had a right idea, just had bad timing, right? And that's just a learning lesson for some of us out there, right? We can have the right idea, but we have to have the right timing. That's the most important thing about the timing, the confirmation, the entries, right? We talk about that a lot. I failed to have that, but let's move on, right? It's time to move on. We look forward, and let's nail it today. So, your sound's really bad today. Oh, I think your speakers might be blown, Tanya. That might be it. Voice keeps cutting out. Guys, nothing on my end, man. I have not changed a single thing. So, everything looks good here. All right. So, today, a little bit concerning, okay? There's some concerns today that today could be a really difficult day to trade. Could be a difficult day to trade. Could be sort of nothing type of day, right? We'll have to see how this economic data comes out here this morning. But after a big move like we saw yesterday, it's possible that it's just a little, it's just sort of a shitty day. Little grinder back to the upside maybe, right? Little bit of recovery after the big downside. And that's very possibly what we see today. That's my concern. That's something you have to have in mind today. You have to be careful getting too aggressive after that major move yesterday, okay? It could just be sort of a lackluster day to set up some moves next week. This is possibly what we see today. It's Friday, and it's the end of week, and so we need to be cautious. We need to be cautious. If anything, we watch to see how this market sets up for Monday, and we start to have some, we start to build some ideas, build some game plan for next week, right? That's possibly more of the focus today than it is just trying to nail something today, right? What's happening on the market? What am I observing? And what can I sort of build and game plan for next week? That's sort of an interesting concept, possibly more of what I focus on today. So we'll see, right? There's some very key levels that I'm going to be looking for the market to move back higher into. We talked about this on the live stream last night. I want the market to be up, right? I'm happy to see the market green this pre-market. You want the market to be higher, right? You did not want the market to gap down this morning if you are looking for that re-entry short. If you're looking to sort of take a type of continuation move here after yesterday's downside, you want there to be a little shitty green pre-market, right? That's what you want to see. And then you want to look for that dead cat bounce and where can those levels start to reject again. So as of right now, what I'm looking at right now in the futures is exactly what you'd want to see for more downside. You want to see this little slow move back to the upside and then see what levels it comes into. So let's go ahead and review those levels and get prepared for what could be an interesting day, but what could also be a really ugly and shitty day. So we got to stay open to both sides and sort of prepare the best we can. That's all we can do. So let's do it. If you guys could press that like button, subscribe to the channel. We're on pace to hit 100,000 subscribers by February of next year. Let's beat it. Let's beat that. All right. We're on pace to hit 100K by February of next year. We got to try to get on pace to beat it by the end of this year. If you guys could, if you guys come here every day, if you're not subscribed to the channel, I'd appreciate if you would. All right. Let's do it. So, economic calendar. Today, we do have some economic news in the pre-market, which is actually some pretty big news as well, right? This is definitely market-moving news here. Average hourly earnings, non-farm employment change, and unemployment rate all here in the pre-market this morning. So, let's see, right? Let's see where this takes the market. If we get a little pop on this data, this could be even better for us for downside, right? A little pop into some supply levels. Or this is potentially the data that sort of just makes this downside continue. So non-farm, average hourly earnings, and unemployment rate, some big ones this morning to be aware of. And we might need to be keeping an eye out for, right, these Fed presidents, because the Fed president yesterday on CNBC seems to have sparked some of that downside yesterday. So we got some Fed presidents speaking at 9:15, 12:15. And then consumer credit at 3 o'clock. I will not be here around 3 o'clock to watch that. All right. So that is our economic calendar. Let's jump into the futures and take a look at what we're doing right now and some levels that we need to be watching today. So 4-hour chart on the NASDAQ, guys. 4-hour chart. Big analysis, right? Big level chart. What happened yesterday? We dropped aggressively into an important demand level. Okay, and we need to be aware of this, right? We can't get ahead of ourselves here because technically, if you look at this like last month of price action, that's about the channel we've been trading in right there. We've been trading in this 18,000 demand, right, to around this 18,625 supply, right? And so if I zoom out a little bit more, let me get a little bit more price action here. You can see, right, that 18,000 level could be, right, just another sort of hold level and push back higher. We have to be careful getting too aggressive short at the 18,000. No doubt about it, right? You have to be careful getting too aggressive short back down into this 18K. This is the 18K level that might just hold on today, right? This might just hold on today. We might not get much more continuation today. This might just be that level that the week closes out right above. Maybe next week is where we can look for the actual continuation move. But this is definitely a level today that could just maintain, and we could see the market just sort of consolidate right above that 18,000 today. Very possible, something to be aware of before you start entering aggressive to the downside. Okay? This is definitely a level that's going to need to break for us to see more downside on the NASDAQ futures. Under 18,000, you likely trade into that 17.8. All right? 18,000, 17.8, two levels to be watching. Important demands below, right? No joke of a demand below there at 18,000. Now, to the upside, here are the levels that I am watching for potential rejections. We can call it 8. It's definitely number one is 18.2. 18.2 is without a doubt a level that I'm watching here. You guys can see 18.2, right? And 18.2, that's the 50 SMA, and that is the previous lows here from Tuesday. And I think right now the SPY is probably rejecting 515. It is. Okay. So this SPY 515 level is major. But back to the NASDAQ, right? We can see, right? We had that little uptrending move, big crack of it. And now we're watching to see what happens at previous lows. So I'm going to be watching a few of these levels. Number one is going to be 18,200 and that 20 SMA or 50 SMA right here. 18.2, 50 SMA. If we sort of grind higher into that, is that where we can catch another short entry today? That's number one. That's very interesting. What happens at the 50 and what happens at 18,200 today on the NASDAQ futures? We getting this little slow grind to the upside this morning. If this grinds into that 50, do we start to see the rejection play? All right. Big watch there. If we get above 18.2, the next level we're watching is this low here from Wednesday. That is 18,240. Okay. 18,240 is the next level I'm watching if we move back to the upside. That's this Wednesday low. Here's Tuesday's lows. So Tuesday's lows, 18.2. Wednesday's lows, 18,240. Two levels I would be watching to see if we push up and reject. If we zoom out a little bit more, if we get above both these levels today, okay, number one, I'd be a little bit cautious on the intraday shorts. Okay, if we start seeing the NASDAQ getting above these levels, I'd probably sort of reconsider shorting intraday today and just letting this be. That's where I would start the game plan for next week, right? If I start seeing this thing holding and this thing's just sort of grinding today, I'm not going to be looking for, right, that downside today if we're above these two levels, right? Above 18.2, above 18,240, back above that 50 SMA. If I see the market starting to trade back above that 50 and sort of maintaining it, that is definitely not a short for today, okay? Because that could just be sort of that maintain level that we see into next week. What I would be watching at that point, right? What I would be watching at that point would be this larger retest. The larger retest back into the 18.4, 18,380. Back into this high, this low, and that daily 20 SMA. That's what I would be looking for if we got back above that 50, if we got back above that 18.2, right? I would be looking for the market to sort of grind back higher into that 18,380, 18.4. All right, and that's where I'd be more interested. We could run a fib boy today. Yeah, this could be a fib boy type day. 61.8. I know the fib boys love 61.8. That is exactly at the 18,380 and the 20 SMA. All right, so if you need a 61.8 retracement of this downside move, that brings us to 18,380, and that could be your next move like this, right? Something to be careful of, right? I am not that fond of taking the first available short today because there's definitely some willingness, most likely, to sort of grind back higher. So 18.2, 38.2 is at 18,240, 50% retracements at 18.3, and then the 61.8 is right here at that 18,380 and that daily 20 SMA. That could be the right level to be monitoring, right? If we see this grind back to the upside. And then next week, we sort of target that 18,380 level. Something to be watching there, okay? So, those are my levels right now. If you find yourself entering shorts today and the market's down here, please reconsider. That's the one thing I will say. If you miss this downside, okay, and the day's getting real, right? Let's think about, about 2 hours into open. Let's say the day's getting real ugly again. Oh man, here we go again, right? And you start seeing this thing trading by 18K. You need to be careful starting to chase puts into this 18,000 level, please. Okay, this could be one of these Johns right here. All right, you could get one of these. And you do not want to be aggressively short near the 18,000 level. You're going to want to try to find, for your entry points, those pops and fades. This is how I got messed up, right? This is how I got messed up on Tuesday. I shorted into, Tuesday's move, and I got this against me for the entire week until that move happened, right? You get that big drop, the sort of retracement, and then the second big drop, right? So this is your big drop. You could get that second retracement and the big drop again. But if you get in too early, you have to sit through that drawdown, and then you watch it go without you. This is exactly the story of my life this week, okay? So this is a very similar type move. You got your big drop. You still might need that retracement to find that second entry. So let's be aware of that, and let's be cautious of that. 18,200, 18,240, and I think the major one up here, 18,380. 618 could be money. Yeah, it very well could be, Stockmaster. That could be the right level, right? 61.8 right here, 18,380. Do I think the NASDAQ's going to move up about 1.3% today? Probably not. So if you're looking for that 61.8 retracement, pack up your bags. Don't even trade today, all right? If you're looking for that 61.8, right, and you say, I am not shorting until we get that 61.8 retracement, not going to happen today. I do not think the market's going to be up 1.3% today. If it is, I'll shut down the live stream forever. That would be a crazy retracement, a 1.3% upside move today. Maybe it does on data, Maybe it does on data, and I'll never see you guys again. But that's a tough one. But if it does, right, we know what to look for. If it does, we know what to look for. All right? All right. QQQ. Man, is this an important level on the Qs right now. This is huge. Very important. Very important. Where we sit right now before data. 438. 438 is major here. And I would actually be slightly against shorting today if we get back above 438. I got to make sure to have 442 on my charts. So right here. 438 is the FOMC low, okay? 438 is the low that we were at before FOMC popped this market higher. 438 is also the low that came in on Tuesday of this week. Tuesday of this week, that 438 hold created market upside, right? So you can see right here, you have 438, 438, right? Right here and right here. You off that level, you push to the upside, rejecting off the major supply once again. Now, why is this so important? Because you can see this morning, you have cracked below the 438, and you are trading back higher into it right now. If 438 is a rejection point today, that is very much a short-term short entry today. That could be a short-term short entry today at the 438 level. That is a big watch, and the feeling here is that it could just be, right, if this data comes out and the market doesn't like it, you might just get a rejection right now in the pre-market off this level. It's very possible. So 438, be careful of this. Let's watch what happens on data at this level. If we get above 438 today, right, if we get back above this low and we get back above that Tuesday low, that would make me sort of uninterested in shorting the market today. If we hold above this 438, right, and we start to reclaim it, that, in my eyes, would lead to a push higher into our 61.8 retracement, which is that 442, that 20 SMA. It should be about the same on the, it's about the same here on the Qs, right? If we get back above the 438, the Tuesday low, the FOMC low, and we start to see this thing maintain, this is where I think you get that retracement back to that daily 20, possibly back into that 442. Okay? And that would be, on the NASDAQ, that would be 18,380. 18,380, 18,360, 20 SMA area. So, got to stay open to that possibility, right? Got to stay open to that possibility of the retracement move, of, sort of that, the crawl back higher that could be sort of today's move. All right. So I would say if you want the market to stay very weak today, you want to see it under 438, in my opinion. You do not want to see us reclaim this 438 Tuesday low and that FOMC low. Reclaiming those two levels could cause, right, a little bit of momentum to step back in for a higher level above. Okay. Now, last thing I want to note on the QQQ, what is below us? Why do I have this little yellow zone here, right? You guys should remember this. Why do I have this yellow zone here? This yellow zone sort of indicates the gap below off of Nvidia earnings, okay? Right here. You had a gap up on February 21st on Nvidia earnings. You had a gap up between 426 and 433. You had about a, 7-point gap. We had a 7-point gap on the QQQ between 426 and 433. If we drop this 433 level in the future here, maybe today, maybe next week, I would absolutely be looking for the gap fill on the QQQ into that 426 low. This is an entire gap, and it's something that you need to have on your charts. Okay? That is something you need to be paying attention to. Under 433. ES. So, ES is doing what we want ES to do for shorts right now. ES is climbing back higher, back into some previous rejection points. So let's drop this down into the 30-minute chart, and let's get a little bit more time here. All right. So here's the ES. We dropped major structure, right? We dropped under that 5250. We even dropped under that FOMC low. That's 5235. So today, there are two levels that I am looking for the ES to retrace back into. Number one is FOMC lows and Tuesday's lows. FOMC lows and Tuesday's lows. I want to see the ES crawl itself right back into 5235 today. If we can crawl back into 5235, that is where I would look for that re-entry at 5235. If we crawl over 5235, I am looking for the move into 5250. 5250 is the previous lows from this week, that daily 20 SMA, and on top of that, 5250 is the previous major highs right here. 5250, 5250, 20 SMA, 5250. Okay? So I would be a little bit hard-pressed to short this market without the ES getting back towards that 35 or getting back towards that 50. Those are two levels that I would like to see the ES retrace to before taking that entry. If we draw up for the Fib boys here, that is the 50% retracement on the dot. 5250 is the 50% retracement on the dot on the ES. 38.2 is the 5235. 61.8, 5260. 78.6, 5280. So Carlitos says we're going back to new highs. All right. Sounds good, Carlitos. I'll put all my money on that. Carlitos, if you do not put your entire account on that prediction today, then don't talk. Okay? Send me proof you put your entire account on us going back to all-time highs. All right. 5235, 5235, right? That's a big level to watch today. If we get into that level, watch for that rejection. 5250, that's your next one. 20 SMA, 5250. All right? To the downside, the only thing you need to be cautious of, right, if you do enter short, is 5170. Okay? 5170. That's definitely an important demand below. Okay? SPY. 515. 515. Big time. Right? Big time. Why would we put our account on anything? Well, if you know what's going to happen, why not? Right? Why not? If I knew exactly what was going to happen, I'd put my whole account on every single trade. Right? That makes sense, doesn't it? If you know what's going to happen, like you for sure know, you would put your account on every trade. So if you don't, then you don't know what's going to happen because you actually understand that you don't know what's going to happen. You actually know how to trade and you take risk management into account. You understand that you could be wrong. You understand that there could be things that go against you. And you don't put that's why traders don't put their account on every trade because they don't know what's going to happen. They understand that concept. But if I knew what was going to happen on every trade, then why not? Why not? All right. So let's continue. 5:15, right? 5:15. Wake up. Time to wake up. All right. 5:15. That's big today. Very big, right? Look at what's happening right now at 5:15. Right on the SPY, right? Look at this. 5:15. This is the FOMC low rejecting as we speak. So right here, you guys can see 5:15, 5:15, FOMC low, 5:15. That's big, right? That's big. So we need to be watching today. Does the SPY this morning reject 5:15? If it does, interesting watch, right? Interesting watch for that next downside entry. That lines up with no retracements there at 5:15 on the SPY. So probably not a great level, but in terms of the Fib boys, but I definitely would watch it to see what happens at 5:15 today. That is this previous high, and the FOMC low. We have to be watching 5:15 today. If we get above that, I would watch for the retracement back to the 5:18. Okay? I would look for the retracement back to the 5:18. That would be a little bit more interesting to me. That's the 50% retracement at 5:18. Okay? I like that level more than anything. If you get back into this high here, get back into that 5:18 low from this week, get back towards that daily 20. If you see that grind back higher into this level, this is where I'd get more interested and more aggressive. Okay? This is also, right, remember this, 5:18, if we look at this 4-hour chart, this would be a perfect retracement back into this previous high. 1, 2, 3, 4, right? Look at how clean that would be. That would be very clean on the SPY. Back to 5:18, push this thing higher, come back to that 20, come back to that double top, come back to that weekly low. That would be a sexy one. Now, let me show you this before we get into the data. See this right here? I'm going to screenshot this, okay? I did this on the live stream last night. Right here, I'm going to screenshot this, okay? So screenshotting that, and then I'm going to pull this up on the screen in just a second. Look at how similar these two moves are. Look at how similar these two moves could potentially be on the ES and the Dow, on the Dow Jones. Let me pull it up. Look at this right here. All right. Oops. So, this is the ES. I'm going to put it right here. Here's the ES on the bottom left. And here's the Dow on the right. What did the Dow do on Tuesday of this week, and what have we been talking about on this live stream on the Dow Jones? We have been talking about the break and retest rejection on the on the Dow. We've been talking about how the Dow broke below this structure, broke below this high, and broke below this high, right? The Dow broke this high here, broke this high here, broke this low right here. It broke under it, it retested it, and it rejected it, right? Look at this. Break, retest, rejection. 1, 2, 3. High, high, break, retest, rejection. Look at what the ES could potentially be doing. It is the exact same setup. High, high, break, retest, retest of these lows, which is these lows right here, retest of this double top high, which is this double top high right here. It is identical. It is absolutely identical. If the ES pushes into that 518, if the SPY pushes into that 518, that is the same move that happened on the Dow here at 39.7. Very, very interesting. And something I would absolutely be sort of eyeing. Yep, here it is. This is exactly what, yep. What did we just say about 515? Yep, there it is. Let's see if it holds. It's wicking a little bit. It's wicking a little bit, but don't do it to me. I don't want this to go down. I do not want this to go down. I would rather this go up. 515. What did we just say about the 515 potential rejection point here? That it might just happen on data. I really would like to see this wick back up. I think it is. It looks like that's what it's going to do here, actually. Okay, so a good wick. Good. We don't want this to drop here. We want this to go up. We want it to go up so we can get a better entry here. But right now, that 515 is heavy, man. What we just talked about before this data came out. All right. So 515 on SPYs, no joke. QQQ 438, no joke. Average hourly earnings 0.003 versus, so that's in line. Non-farm payrolls 303 versus 212. Unemployment rate pretty much in line. So 300, so big increase on non-farm versus estimations. All right, guys. Well, 515. That's going to be our level. That's going to be our level, 515. Okay? We'll keep an eye on that today. If we get above and we wick above today, let's look for that 518. Man. Come on, wick back higher, baby. Give us an entry. All right. What the TNX? Oh man, TNX still going up, huh? Yeah, that TNX has been sort of steadily rising here. Dollar, big spike on the dollar as well. Very big spike on the dollar. So big spike on dollar, big spike on 10-year. SPY 515 rejection looking pretty decent right now. All right, let's continue. Tesla. Don't love Tesla today, unless it gets under 168, to be honest. Don't love Tesla today unless it gets under 168. Maybe 170, but 168 looks pretty heavy for support, so I'd be careful at the 168 level. I'd watch 170 and 168. However, I'm sort of retiring Tesla. I just think it's been a really difficult trade. Yesterday, nice squeeze. I mean, obviously, squeeze is pretty hot, right? If you caught this squeeze, well done. But it's just been a little bit tough to trade Tesla lately. It's sort of been counter market, just sort of not really, perfectly aligning with NQES. So it's been sort of difficult. But let's watch 171 and 168. I think if you break under 168, the downside comes in again very aggressively. But right now, you are holding that 170. That 170 level is very much holding. So watch that 170 hold. Be careful shorting into 170 today on Tesla. Big hold level. Nvidia. Okay, we're getting our wick back higher. Good. Come on. I want to set up, man. I don't want to just see tank. I don't want to see tanking. I want to see setups. Nvidia. So, first level I'm watching on Nvidia is 870. However, I think you probably see a little bit more than that. I would probably rather look at this Tuesday low on Nvidia. So right now you can watch 870. This is that previous sort of rejection spot here yesterday. It was also a previous low from a few months back. I would like to see this right here, 877 on Nvidia. I'd like to see us move higher, right? Move higher into this previous Tuesday low right here. That would be my spot to watch. Let's see if Nvidia can sort of reclaim some of these levels and get back up towards this 877. That's what I'd like to see Nvidia do. if we can get back to this Tuesday low, I would get interested in a trade on Nvidia, something along these lines here. If we get back over this Tuesday low, then you're watching this Wednesday low. Wednesday low, 883, 884. Okay? So really, right now, you got to be careful because here's the biggest reason you got to be careful on Nvidia. There is a no-joke demand below, right? And you really don't want to set up shorts on Nvidia down here. This is just not a great spot to be setting up downside on Nvidia without a legitimate bounce. So I'm actually going to delete 770 because I don't even think I like it. I would not want to short Nvidia anywhere near this 850 level, right? This is a no-joke level. This was my target on the downside on Nvidia, right? What did Nvidia do this week? It made the most perfect bear flag you could ever ask for. And I was the idiot that got out of it, right? And so I have to punish myself here and accept that I missed the real move, right? This is the real move right here. This is the beautiful, most beautiful bear flag you could ask for here on Nvidia. Back into these supply highs, right? Sort of trading higher, rejecting that high, and then bam, perfection, right? So this was the move, right? This was the trade. Now the trade is a little bit gone, right? The downside trade is a little bit gone at this point. You do not want to be the person setting up shorts down into this 850 demand. That's big stuff down there. I would not want to mess around with that 850 level. So what do you have to see to re-short this Nvidia move? You need to get a pop, right? You need a pop back to the upside. Pop back into some of these rejection levels before looking for downside. Unless you just get a hold below 850. Now, if you get a hold below 850, then we're definitely looking for further downside on Nvidia. But right now, on a Friday after a big drop, I would be surprised to see Nvidia drop that 850 today. Okay, that would be surprising. That means the market is dead, most likely, like really dropping. If Nvidia is under 850 today after this drop, you're looking at probably another big drop in the market if that's happening. So 850, big demand below. Be careful setting up shorts down here. I would want some pops, right? Let's see Tuesday lows. Let's see Wednesday's lows. Let's see these levels out today and see if there are rejections up here. I would say 877, 883, looking to see if we get a move back up into these lows for that second entry, right? Because then we have some risk reward, right? If we short here, at least we have some risk reward. At least we can trade this back down to 850, right? We can trade this back down to 850. We have risk reward on our trades to the downside, right, if we're entering at these supply levels, okay? So 877, 884, watching those Tuesday, Wednesday lows today on Nvidia. Let's see what happens there. AMD, sitting at major, very similar to Nvidia here, right? Major low on AMD here. 4-hour major demand low on AMD. I think it could be tough to get below this, right? Unless AMD just really dies off. And AMD could really die off because AMD really died off yesterday even before that drop on the market. So AMD definitely a weak one. But we can watch that 165 to 160 here today. This is no joke of a level either. 165, 160, 165, 160, 165, 160. That's a big demand on AMD for about an entire month period. We maintained above that low. We are back at that low. We also have the 100 SMA below at 160 as well. So what do you want to see here? I would not really want to be, I'm not that interested in shorting AMD today into that major low, right? That's pretty big down there, 160, 165 area. Definitely an area that could get sweaty if you're trying to play downside through it. So I would want to see AMD push to the upside, right? Push back into this low from Monday of 2 weeks ago. Push back up into these channel lows at 175, right? Look for AMD to sort of slowly grind back into that 173 or 175 area, and then look to see if that entry comes back in, right? So 175 right here, 173 right here, some levels I'll be watching for AMD to creep back up into, and then look to see if I can set something up. Maybe it's a next week type of trade, right? Maybe this is a next week type of trade. Today, you could literally just watch AMD do this all day, right? This could be your Friday move right there. That could be it. And then maybe next week, we start to see a little bit of this, right? So be careful of that. Watch that 164, 160 demand below. Microsoft. Microsoft holding well. I do not like shorts on Microsoft today. Let me make that very clear. This is a non-short for me, unless you move under 419, right? Microsoft is holding above 419 with some aggression, right? Actually holding quite well. So I do not like this for any kind of downside. 419, 419, 419, 419. And here in the after hours pre-market, right, we held that 419. And we held that daily 20 SMA. So in my opinion, Microsoft is just still in this channel, right? And Microsoft could absolutely do a little bit of this dance. So do not like anything on the short side on Microsoft. If the market sees serious upside today, like actually strength to the upside, you could sort of spot for some 419 demand on Microsoft today. Possible. Just be careful. Google. Move down into some important demand here on Google, right? I would not want to be short Google into that 150, 150.6, okay? You have some previous lows here that you are holding, right? You can see Google is holding up in this green zone. It's maintaining that level today. No interest in shorting into this level today. What I would want to see on Google today is a pop higher into the 153, right? Let's look for Google to move back into 153, and then let's see if that's a lower high. Right? If Google creates a lower high here at 153, this would be something you watch, okay? This would be something you watch at 153. So let's watch that 153 today, and then let's be careful of that demand below at 150. Meta. So Meta's holding over this 515.50, all right? Meta's holding over this 515.50, right here. 515.50, definitely something to watch. I do not like the shorts on Meta. Why is that? You are holding above this previous high. So you could see Meta sort of continue and hold higher if it holds over this high right here. The high of this candle is 515.48. 515.48. And as of right now, we can see that Meta is holding above that area. So careful on the short side here. If Meta is above this 515.48, right, and it's holding above that previous high, it's not a short. Okay, it's not a short if it's above this high. It honestly, if the market is strong, like I said with Microsoft, could be a little bit of a long if that market does retrace, right? So let's see, 515.48, if that holds above, if the market's showing strength, let's see what Meta does above that level today. Some nice hold here around that 510, and you have a gap fill to 507, okay? But you can see right now, Meta holding up above that previous high. Interesting for the potential of an upside move if the market can maintain itself. Let's go to Square, because Square has good push. I think we're going to see 518. We might see 518. You're coming up into that daily 20 on NASDAQ nicely. 18,200. Big watch here. Let's go to Square real quick, because there's a gap below on Square, and I'm watching it. There's two gaps that I'm watching, both Square and then PA and W. Right here, you have a 74 level that's holding on Square. If Square gets under 74, you have a gap into 70. Okay, just be aware of that. 74. Possibly a hold level. It's very possibly a hold level. So be aware of that, right? Be aware of that. 74. But there is a gap below. If you do break under 74, there is a gap here to 70. Something I would be sort of eyeing here on Square. The other one that I'm watching is right here on not PNW, on CrowdStrike. My bad. CrowdStrike has a earnings gap up down to 290. Right now, CrowdStrike, in my eyes, looks to be rejecting, or we'll see what the market looks like today, of course. But right now, CrowdStrike looks to be coming off of channel highs, possibly trading towards that channel low. Let me move this for you. All right, channel highs, coming off channel highs, looks to be trading towards that channel low. And right now, if I zoom in on this little 1 hour channel, you can see we have broken below like this 314, 315 support. We've broken and cracked below it. If this turns into a rejection today, right, if we reject right here around this 314, 315 area, I am looking to see if we fill this gap, right? Look at this. This is CrowdStrike. You can see there is a major gap, even starting from here, right? If this gap needs to get filled, there's some downside to be had here, possibly into the 290s, into the 295s, right? Down to the downside. If you stay under, I would say this 314, 315 low, okay? That's what I'm watching. Let's go to Coinbase. Yeah, Coinbase. A little bit of a bear flag look, right? Let me put back on the after hours. I mean, this is what we were looking for all last week or all early this week, but it did get a little bit higher than I expected. It got up into what, the 260 level? So Coinbase got up into the 260, right? Rejected there. 242 looks to be a support level. Let's go ahead and zoom in on this for a second. Let's go 15-minute. Yeah, so obviously 260 is a nice rejection spot. I'd be careful of some of these lows right here. You see this? This 242? It's trying to hold there a little bit. So be careful of that little hold there. If coin gets under 242, you might have your 235 again. But you need to get under that 242. That looks like a little bit of a hold level. Let's go to Amazon. Okay, Amazon is holding 180 still. So Amazon is still a strong name here, right? Amazon's still above this 180 level. As long as Amazon is above this 180 level, right, then there's no reason to look for downside, okay? So this is a no short list right here. Amazon over 180 is definitely on the no short list. So let's watch this. Amazon 180, keep an eye on that. If it really holds on and the market does sort of retrace, could be an interesting long, short-term scalp. But Amazon over 180, still a strong name. Okay? What else was on my watch? Oh, SMCI. SMCI, 950. Big level today. Okay? Big level today on SMCI today, 950. Do we hold that 950? That's the watch for me today. If we break under 950, watching for that move down into this, 900, 910. What I would be looking for today is what happens at the 985. Does the 985 turn into a rejection spot today on SMCI? Okay, so 985 and down into 950. That's your channel on SMCI today. Do you see this? Do you see that hold, right? What are we going to see between 985 and 950? That's my big watch on SMCI today. Let's go to, we already did Meta. What did I miss? Oh, Netflix. We can go over Netflix real quick. Netflix is holding a daily 20. So this is another one that's sort of on the no short list. You guys can see right here that daily 20 is holding very nicely on Netflix. So Netflix still maintaining relatively strong here in my eyes. I basically would say not interested until it breaks under the daily 20. Right, that's definitely a nice hold level on Netflix. Could possibly sort of retrace this move. But if you want a long, right? If you want a long Netflix, look for that hold back down at 616. That's really where you want to be long. MU, yeah, MU. Actually, this is sort of an interesting play here. Huh. MU, interesting. This could be a little interesting rejection spot here at 126, actually. Okay. Yeah, this is actually very interesting. MU, little bear flag for a target back down to this 121. That looks about right. That looks really good, actually. This might be my favorite setup I'm looking at today. This is a straight up move on MU. Right, that most likely needs to get filled back down to that 121. If you see some harsh rejections up here at 126 today, back at these previous lows, those lows there, and some of these rejections at these highs, this could be quite interesting today on MU. Yeah, watch this 126 on MU. Nice watch. Really nice watch. Keep an eye on that. All right, guys. That's how I'm going to end it. Nice watch there on MU. What level is the NASDAQ rejecting? What level did we just trade back up into? Traded right back up into that 50 SMA. So this is a big watch today. What happens at this 50? What happens at Tuesday's lows? Okay? Please do not just blindly short today because the market is at the 50. Watch to see what happens at these levels, right? Do we start to see that willingness to drop? Do we start to see that weakness step in at this 18.2? I would say right now you're starting to see it a little bit, right? Look at the fail that just showed in. So you're starting to see that 18.2 level, okay? That's that 50 SMA. ES still could move a little bit higher, I think, into that 52.35 right here, 52.35. Maybe need a little bit more there on the ES. SPY, oh, it's back under 515. Wow. Yeah, if that SPY rejects 515 there, that's sort of interesting. And QQ, oh. Oh, that's interesting. Look at that. 438 on the dot. On the dot. So, what did we talk about half an hour ago? 438 on the dot on the Qs. That is extremely interesting right here. 438 on the dot. This is the type of rejection I want to see intraday, though. Right? I want to see this intraday. So we could see another little pop back into this level today, right? We could experience on the market open, right, another pop back into that level. So I would wait to see what happens on the intraday, but you can see that our levels are valid, right? You can absolutely see that our levels are valid as of right now. 438, QQQ, NASDAQ, perfect at the 50 SMA, 18,200, right there, right? So let's keep an eye on these levels, man. All right, guys, you got 2,200 people. Oh, we got 1,000 likes. I didn't even ask. You guys are getting better at this, huh? I guess people are enjoying the live streams. I appreciate that, guys. Thanks for the 1,000 likes. If you guys can continue to like it up, subscribe to the channel if you're new here. Some big watches today, guys. Some big watches. And that reaction that we just witnessed is exactly what we talked about a half an hour ago. That's going to be interesting. All right, guys. Have a fantastic trading day. Have a fantastic weekend. Definitely a weekend to reset. Definitely a weekend to recover. And come back Monday should definitely have some opportunity, in my opinion. The only thing that I'm concerned about into next week, remember this, guys, if you do swing trade, we have CPI next week, okay? CPI next week, PPI next week, FOMC minutes. So there is some sort of uncertainty into next week, but let's see what happens today. Thank you guys again. Press that like button. Yeah. Yeah. Ray trades. Violence, speed, momentum. Peace out, guys.